Welcome back, traders. This is episode 6 from the stockbandit.tv, and I'm sure glad to see you. Hope you're enjoying the extended weekend and getting ready for another week of trading, although a holiday shortened week. Before I get going, I just want to remind you that the full screen button is going to give you the best view of the video, so be sure and click that in the player down below. In this episode, just as we're going to do before every single new trading week, we're going to take a good look at the major averages and see what's going on out there. Now, if you were a pilot, you would definitely examine the weather conditions before you left the ground, right? Well, that's just what we're doing every single time that we check out the major averages before a new trading week, because there is no single bigger influence on how individual stocks move. All right, so last week we saw some downside. It happened early in the week, but we saw a little bit of a rebound late in the week, so a slight bounce is underway. We did see the highest volume last week that we've seen since December options expiration, and so we're developing a pattern here. That's pretty common. We see third week of the month, third Friday every month, we tend to have big volume, and so that is to be expected, and that's what we got last week as well. And I also touched on that a little bit in episode 5 regarding options expiration. So as we take a look at the current conditions, here's what we have. We've got the Nasdaq that's showing some relative strength to the S&P 500 and the Dow, but none of the three have really been acting very well. In fact, all three of the biggies fell back into their trading ranges with the January 7th decline. So we're going to take a look here at each one of them individually. So first up here is the Nasdaq, obviously sitting about 70 points shy of that 1600 area where it fell back into this big channel that we've been bound by for so much of the time over the past 10 weeks or so. Now, on Friday, this index did rally back up, and it's sitting just short of this small descending trend line here. That's right at the 1540 area. So if we can get over that hump in the near term, then the Nasdaq is free to move higher, and really the next logical area to take a breather would be the 1600 area if it is reached. But just think of this trend line right here, this 1540 level, as kind of a gate that price must pass through in order to continue higher in the near term. Now up next we've got the S&P 500, which really it tagged the lower end of its trading range on Thursday. Then it produced a little bit of a bounce the rest of the day, and then on into Friday. It actually moved up and over this channel that it had been bound by for the past 2 weeks, just really marking the pace of that decline. And so we here again saw big volume along with that. But this reversal so far is not real impressive. However, now that it is above that trend line there, S&P 500 is free to move all the way back up to the upper end of this trading range, which is right around the 918 area. So that certainly, it does allow for some room, some freedom of movement on the way high. However, this index really is going to need the help of the financials, and the financial stocks play a big role in how this index moves, and they really have suffered a lot lately. And so if the S&P is going to climb higher, it's got to get help from the financials in order to do so. And then finally, the Dow. Obviously, this index really temporarily breached the low end of its trading range, but it held above it on a closing basis. Then on Friday, it bounced a little bit and got over this descending trend line here. So it looks like it's got some freedom to move higher in the near term. But again, that's no guarantee, especially given the fact that this index has been the weakest of the bunch. It's lagging each of the other two. And so in terms of performance, I'm really not expecting this one to do anything better than the other two. And so I really would place the bulk of my attention on the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So there you go. That's a good look at the big picture for this holiday shortened trading week. As always, I hope that you enjoyed the show, and thank you for subscribing and for watching. And to those of you who have left comments below, keep them coming. I appreciate them. There will be more videos to come, so I'll definitely see you soon. Until then, trade like a bandit.